This is the Sons of UCF, the number one place for UCF sports, with your distinguished host, Adam.
If you have time, are you eating Oreos under the gun usually? What do you mean?
And Mike.
When are they going to call this time out, Mike?
Now, here are the guys.
All right, yes, we are back. It's the 148th episode of the Sons of UCF. As mentioned, my name is Adam, and as always, your friend of mine, Mr. UCF Mike, is back for another week, although I don't know what kind of shape he's in, Mike. I hear things clattering and banging over there. Are you still throwing things after the loss this weekend?
Yeah, I'm still tossing stuff around. I am in rough shape this week, man. Not as excited to do the show as I normally am, but it's something we got to do. We got to talk about. I think sometimes doing this show after a loss, it makes me feel better a little bit.
All right, well, thanks for listening in on Mike's therapy session. We appreciate you for doing that. Hey, while you're doing that, make sure you're following us on social media at all the places that you might follow people on social media, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, all at Sons of UCF. Make sure you're following Mike on Twitter as well. He's an angry follow these days, at UCF Mike1 on Twitter. Also our website, twonightsmedia.com. And don't forget our live show is on Thursday. Subscribe to all that stuff. Give us a like, give us a listen, give us a follow, give us whatever it is that you want to give us. And we are going to give you this edition of the show, Mike. It's a rough one. We'll end with Cow of the Week, as we always do. We've got your weekly picks. We've got our observations. We've got our game breakdown, but let's just start off right here, Mike. Obviously, neither one of us really had this one going this way, although I did say at one point weird things happen on a Friday night on the road. I did not expect it to be this weird. Obviously, UCF goes up to Louisville and does not play well throughout most of the game. Surprisingly, though, had the ball in their hands on the plus side of the field with less than a minute to go and a chance to win the game, and then they didn't. And to insult that, an injury takes place on the last play. Dillon Gabriel, broken clavicle, out for who knows how long. So we lose our quarterback, and we lose the game 42-35. Mike, your first thoughts on all that good stuff I just mentioned?
What good stuff? You didn't mention any good stuff. Worst case scenario, man. We lose the game. We lose our quarterback for probably the season. It's not a good majority of the season now. I don't know, man. I did not see this coming. You heard my predictions last week. I thought we were going to take care of these guys easily. I was not scared of Louisville. I think we're a better team than Louisville. And, I mean, the injuries just started adding up as the game went on. We were shorthanded. Now, you don't want to make excuses, but, play here, play there. The game's different, a lot of different ways, and it didn't come out our way. And you play close games. You play tough road games at night. These things happen. Nobody saw what was going to happen there at the end. The whole game, there was not one turnover in the game. And then we get that crazy play to get the ball, and then the very next play, they return it for a touchdown. And then, of course, the injury to Dillon Gabriel, the guy that we thought was going to be the MVP of the team, the leader of the team, and now we're missing him for who knows how long. You couldn't have drawn it up any worse for the Knights.
Well, you mentioned injuries, and obviously Dillon got hurt on the last play of the game, but there was a handful of injuries before that. Probably the most concerning early on, Mike, Isaiah Bowser goes down. He only played a handful of snaps throughout the entire game. A knee injury. Don't know exactly the extent. Malzahn said that he's week to week. Isaiah Bowser posted on Twitter that he'll be back strong and he's working hard. Don't count him out. So no timetable on that. Then some way through the first quarter, Ricky Barber, the transfer defensive tackle, he disappears. Only played 10 snaps throughout the game. Shortly after there, Corey Thornton, our starting cornerback, takes a hit to the head. He leaves the field. Concussion, he did not return. Later after that, Tatum Bethune on a tackle up over the middle of the field. He goes down. He has a concussion. I think he came back for a few plays, but did not play the majority of the game, only 19 snaps. Somewhere, I don't even know where, I don't even know when, I don't even know how, Jalen Robinson comes off the field with some sort of a knee injury. I don't think he played much in the second half. And so you want to talk about a mash unit, Mike. We were essentially, at that point, without our starting center because Matt Lee did not play. We were without our starting running back. And if you want to think about it, we're really on like our third running back because R.J. Harvey and Bentavious Thompson didn't play. We lost our starting wide receiver, our starting linebacker. and our starting cornerback. And we were out without Tremont Morris-Brash, at least initially, who was penciled in to be our starting defensive end, and we were missing our starting defensive tackle. I'm not sure if the Water Boys made it out okay at Louisville. We haven't updated that just yet.
And yet, this team still battled back 3 times in the second half to tie the game after being down a score 3 separate times. Got the ball, like you said, with a chance to win it at the end. And basically a fluke play goes the other way, and we lose out of nowhere. Didn't see that coming. You think worst case scenario, we drive for a field goal attempt, whatever. If he misses, we're going to overtime. But no, nobody saw this coming. And then, of course, all the injuries just makes it even worse. But a very tough loss to take, man. This one is ranking right up there. I know this recency bias. It just happened 72 hours ago. But this is a tough one. This is like the Pittsburgh loss a couple of years ago. This one for me is like the Kansas State loss back in 2010 on the road, the BYU game 2011 on the road. A lot of these road games where I think that we should have won, we had chances to win, and somehow it slipped away. This is another one in UCF history that we're going to be talking about for a while.
Well, let's start with at the very end at least. A lot of folks were head scratching over the final play, the interception essentially. Obviously, UCF had the ball on their side of the field, 3 timeouts. We had just kind of gone through a renaissance of the running game where Johnny Richardson, who I know you're going to touch on later on, seemed to have just rejuvenated the running game. We were gashing them for some big runs there towards the late end. We had just come off the Tremont Morris-Brash interception, which was fantastic. That's going to be a play that gets a loss in UCF history because of what happened the subsequent next 2 plays. But he made a fantastic individual effort to bat the ball and intercept it. Obviously, he only played a handful. He played 9 snaps all game, Mike. So he made them count when he got there. And then first down, and we call a pass play over the middle. It looked like Dillon threw it a little sooner than maybe he wanted to, Mike, because of a blitzer. But I guess first initial thoughts, notwithstanding at least what happened, what did you think of the play call? Did you want to run? Did you want to pass there? What did you want?
No, I have no problem with the play call. If he catches that ball, he gets the ball for at least 8-10 yards, and we're on the move. There's only 30 seconds left in the game. I know everybody talks about we have 3 timeouts. Still, we need to move this ball about 20 yards if we want to get in the field goal range. Right? Obarski's never kicked a 40-yard field goal in his life. We're at the 41-yard line on that play. So we need to get the ball to the 20. That's still a 37-yarder from there. We need to move 20 yards in about 15 seconds. I have no problem throwing the ball. Dillon put the ball right on the money. It bounces off Amari Johnson and goes the other way. There's no way you see that one coming.
Yeah, on Twitter, there was a guy, I think his name is Stephen Ulmer, did a really good breakdown, kind of a screenshot by screenshot, and essentially kind of said, if Dillon can hold that ball just a beat longer and let Amari clear the defensive tackle who dropped back in coverage, then the middle of the field is wide open. But for whatever reason, there was a free rusher coming that wasn't picked up either by one of the linemen or potentially somebody didn't slide protect the right way. And so Dillon throws it a hair sooner probably than he wanted to. Still very catchable. I saw A.J. Guyton, former UCF receiver on Twitter. He wrote something to the effect of, don't catch with your shoulder pad, catch with your hands. So I don't know if it's a function of the ball got on Amari quicker than he was expecting. Again, to your point, glances off his shoulder pads into the hands of some guy named Alderman who takes it all the way to the house, and obviously UCF ends up losing on that one. So I wasn't mad at the play call either because we had 3 timeouts. You're right. We needed more yards than I think people would have thought. I guess worst case scenario, if we misses the field goal and we run it, we go to overtime. But in some respects, you're playing the result there because if we had run the ball up the middle and Johnny got stopped for a 2-yard loss, right, everyone would have lost their mind. Why would you do that? First down, you got to strike, you got to get some yards, right? Everyone would have lost their mind. So a lot of that, I think, is playing the result. I think when you look at the breakdown, you see that somehow Gus had a really good play called. It's simply literally inches away from great execution, and obviously those inches cost UCF the win overall.
Game of inches, right? Was Al Pacino saying?
The inches we need are everywhere around us.
Yeah, and that's what it came down to. A 1 inch, 1/2 second of getting your hands up quicker and making a catch. We're talking about a great game, one of the greatest games in the last few years. This comeback here on the road, setting it up for a field goal. How perfect would it have been if Obarski
38-35
to hit one? Yeah, we would have won by the same score. It was almost too perfect, and we were I guess after years of having such good luck in our favor, 2013, how many times did the things go our way? 2017, 2018. I mean, we're due for a few of these, and we've gotten them now in the last couple of years. Pittsburgh, and now this one here. I don't know what else to tell you, man. That was a rough ending.
Well, tell me what you think about the defense. So obviously we knew Malik Cunningham was a dynamic quarterback. We knew he could run the football. You know, we knew that's his way to beat us. And Mike, it seemed like Louisville, and obviously, you know, with all due respect to Scott Satterfield, I guess I never thought of him as a really fantastic play caller. Perhaps I misjudged that, Mike, because it seemed like he quickly figured out where UCF's deficiencies or gaps were on defense, and he just kept exploiting that over and over and over again, and essentially daring UCF and daring T-Will to stop it. And it seemed like for periods of time there, we had no answers. Louisville was just kind of moving up and down the field on us, Mike. Overall, I know, again, to your point, with 25 seconds to go, we have the ball in our hand to potentially win the thing. But what were your thoughts on the overall defensive performance? How, you know, were you pleased? Obviously, the score is not great, but did you see anything that you were like, hey, that's not so bad?
Not on the defensive side. It was not nice at all. I mean, they had 501 total yards. They really controlled most of the game. They had the ball for over 32 minutes. Felt like longer. I think in the first half, they really controlled it even more. We couldn't stop them in the red zone. Cunningham was doing whatever he wanted. He could just run. He could throw. Yeah, it was not pleasant to watch. The defense definitely needs to improve. But at the same time, you lose a defensive lineman in Barber. You lose your best corner in Thornton. You lose Bethune for a little while. Big Cat's coming in and out of the game. But we just got beat up, and guys came in. How about Armstrong? What was that interception he had, right through his arms?
Yes. Not very strong.
I mean, those are the plays you got to make. You're on the road and you want to come away with a win. You got to make a play like that. We had too many of those missed opportunities where we couldn't get them off the field, and it came back to bite us.
Yeah, I think two things that were interesting. One, it looked like Louisville and Satterfield and Cunningham were making a concerted effort to run away from wherever Big Cat was at. I think ESPN on the broadcast did a nice job of showing that wherever Big Cat was, Louisville was going the other way. And obviously, that's probably a wise decision. They didn't really test Big Cat too much on that side. And so that was the first part. Second part, Mike, was and really more so on the defensive side, but on the offensive side as well. I was shocked at just how much more physical Louisville was than we were. It seemed like they were just, attacking off the ball. They were just pushing guys out of the way. They seemed like they were much more physical throughout the entire evening, particularly on their offensive side of the ball. And you saw it take place, obviously, in the overall yardage. You saw it take place with Cunningham, who did enough when he needed to do enough, and figured it out. Obviously, he used his arm. We kind of knocked him as a passer, Mike. We weren't sure if he could throw the ball. He threw it for 310 yards. And they had 191 on the ground too. So it was a balanced attack, and it just seemed like UCF had no answers. Whenever maybe we figured out the run, they throw a pass, and we weren't prepared for that. It just seemed like whatever lever Satterfield wanted to pull, he had it available to him, and we had just no answers for it.
Yep, and Cunningham even gets banged up there towards the end. Yeah, I'm having flashbacks of Byron Leftwich.
Well, let's bring it. I mean, I don't think he was that bad. And the Oscar go. I mean, I think he was acting a little bit. And Leftwich broke a leg. I mean, come on.
That was the first thing I thought of. A couple of other guys that I was with almost said the same thing at the exact same time. And that was a game that came back to hurt UCF, I believe. We needed Marshall to lose that game. I forget who they were playing, East Carolina or something. But oh man, yeah, Cunningham he played great. He did what he had to do on the ground with his arm. The receiver Ford, we couldn't stop him. We had no answer for him. 8 catches, 100 yards with a touchdown. The defense, we've said it now for the last couple of weeks. Obviously, Boise with the passing game hurt us. Even Bethune-Cookman had a couple of drives where we couldn't get off the field on those guys. So we knew it was a weakness, and Louisville found a way to take advantage of it.
Well, let's talk on the offensive side of the ball, Mike. Obviously, execution on offense was also not where we thought. That first drive was a beaut. It comes with a fourth down stop on the defense. We go down 2 plays later, 41-yard touchdown pass. And then Isaiah Bowser gets banged up, Mike. And from my opinion, as soon as Bowser got banged up, it seemed like the offense just lost its rhythm, lost its flow. It seemed like Gus lost a little bit of I don't want to say confidence in the running game, but the it sounds like the approach really shifted quickly, and it took a while for an adjustment to be made. It took a while for, I think, Gus to get comfortable with what he wants to call. And there were spells where we were not converting. We had obviously a higher number of punts than we've had before. It just seemed like the offense got out of sync, out of rhythm a little bit as soon as Bowser went out, and it came back in spurts. And you said this to me in the text message we were talking through. Obviously, one of the bigger plays was the O'Keefe to Dillon Gabriel touchdown pass, and obviously you said, what does it say about our offense when we have to use trick plays, right? It seemed like Gus just got out of rhythm there, and it took him a while to figure it out. It seems like maybe towards the fourth quarter we got a little bit more of it back with the running game, but everything, in my opinion, Mike, all went downhill offensively when Bowser went out.
No, Bowser's been the bell cow for the first couple of weeks. That's got to be an emotional blow to the offense too, because you see this guy's been carrying us for a couple of weeks, and now all of a sudden he's still early. And then guys like Trillian Coles and Johnny Richardson, they expected to play in this game, but I don't know if they expected to get in that early in the game and as much as they did. But those guys did a decent job. I'm not upset with the way they played. I don't know if Bowser being out is the reason we lost. We had a couple drives there in the second quarter where we stalled out. Mm-hmm. But, we still put up 35 points on the board. It's not like I don't put the blame on the offense in this game. Obviously the defense couldn't make the stops when they needed to. The offense answered when they had to, coming out of the half. In the first drive and the second half, went right down the field, scored, and then did it again late in the game, under 2 minutes, went down when the drive you needed it again and scored again. So I can't put too much of it on the offense.
It just seemed like we went captain check down, though, for a period of time, and it was hard because the TV version wasn't showing the full field. So all you'd see was Dillon drop back, look, and throw like a 3-yard swing pass. And so at some point I was like, hey, do they have does Louisville have Deion Sanders, Ed Reed, Charles Woodson, and Troy Polamalu in the secondary? Because why are we not throwing anything past the line of scrimmage? And not, Trace Chilko, who obviously works with us, messaged and basically said, there's just no separation, that he could see from the press box. But it was hard to see what was happening in the back end there. But it definitely felt like we went a little conservative there. Dillon had a lot of just shorter throws, and we weren't doing a lot of opportunities. To your point, we had our drives where we took our shots, but whether that's a function of maybe Jalen not being here or what the situation was, but it definitely felt like we went more conservative for a couple of drives there, at least in the second and third quarter.
Right. Yeah, the very first drive, we come out and throw a bomb on the second play and hit it. So maybe Louisville makes some adjustments. They start playing guys further back, like you said. On TV, you can't really see. So it's hard to tell from at home. And then a couple of receivers make some big-time plays. That catch that Robinson made for the second touchdown was one of the better catches you'll ever see.
Yeah.
It was an incredible touchdown. So him not being there for the second, a lot of the second half of that game, that's got to hurt the receivers. So, yeah, you're talking about guys like Amari Johnson in the game instead of Jalen Robinson. Obviously, we see the difference that makes.
Plus, Caden Robinson, if the Louisville defender, doesn't cut his fingernails, Caden Robinson has a touchdown on that beautiful throw from Dillon. I mean, just the last second, tipped away. Caden Robinson had a step on everybody. He would have walked into the end zone later in the game. That would have been a fantastic catch. Brandon Johnson played solid as he always does. Seems like he's more of a our solid go-to receiver. Obviously, Ryan O'Keefe played well, but it seemed like, Mike, we just didn't have the depth to keep up after a while. And to your point, it is pretty incredible when you think about all the things that happen. Again, to have the ball in our hands with a chance to go down and potentially tie or win the game at that point, or I guess we could have tied and gone to overtime or won the game at that point. Certainly is a testament to how well the guys played. But then, Mike, the last play comes up. We try one of these oop-de-oop, let's throw it around and see what happens. And the TV did a terrible job of really showing this, but obviously Dillon got the ball last, threw a forward lateral, which was a penalty, of course, ended up getting crushed to the ground there. He stayed on the ground for a period of time. TV cut away from it, but obviously we know what happened next. He was on the field for a long period of time. And after the game, he was walking out. There were some photographs of him with a sling and some ice on his shoulder. And then on Sunday, he releases on social media. UCF follows up. Broken clavicle, no timetable for return, Mike. So let's first things first. What are your thoughts just on the way Dillon got injured? Is that just one of those things, hey, it's football, it happens? Do you say to yourself, hey, why are we even trying something like that at that point in time? What are your thoughts, I guess, on the way the injury goes down?
Well, I mean, that's the only chance you have to win the game. You've seen it happen before. It happens maybe once every 5 years. A team pulls something like that off to win the game. You got to try it. But, yeah, it does suck especially since I think there was already an illegal forward pass before he got the ball. So that wouldn't even have counted for anything, even if we had ended up scoring on that play. And then you see the guy just come right down on his shoulder. And that's a brutal way to go on the very last play of the game when we had already lost. You hate to see it, but I guess that's part of the game, man. That's football. That stuff happens. And now we got to regroup and we got to move on. We got a freshman here that's earned his way into the second spot on this team, and now he's the starter. And I'm glad that Gus came out and just said it. No controversy going into these 2 weeks. We got a bye now, and now it's Mikey Clean's turn. And then we're going to see some Joey Gatewood. There's going to be some packages there for him, and we're going to mix it up a little bit. But let's go. Let's see what the future's like with Mikey Clean. If he is the guy, we need to know now, because we got Castellanos coming in next year, and we need to know what we need to find out about Mikey Clean starting in 2 weeks.
Yeah, to your point, at his press conference on Monday, Gus essentially said that Mikey's going to get the ball. The guys are rallying around him. He's going to get 3 practices this week to sort of acclimate, obviously, as UCF has a bye, and then they'll go into their game prep for Navy. But that it's Mikey's ball at this point. Mike, obviously, he's only played 1 game so far, 4 of 7, with a touchdown pass against Bethune. So we saw him a little bit. He played pretty well in the spring game, but it's got to say something. Mikey came as a true freshman, and he was able to win the backup job. And this was an opportunity for Gus. He could have rolled in Quadri, who's got experience. He could have rolled in Gatewood, who's got some experience. But he's going to stick with the true freshman, Mike. That's got to say something. And I guess for some fans, it maybe gives off a little bit of that KZ vibe, right? Where a veteran goes down like Holman did that year in 2016. And obviously Holman and Gabriel are not the same quarterback, so please don't mistake me for comparing those two together. But you get kind of an unproven young freshman coming in who everybody kind of likes. And we'll see what we have, Mike. It's, I guess, to your point, we've seen his highlight tapes. I've seen the kid. I watched a few of them today just to kind of reacclimate myself. Definitely got all the skill set, and it sounds like it's going to be his ball now to see what happens.
It's not unprecedented for a freshman to come in and play well. We've seen it a few times. Obviously, Dillon Gabriel did it a couple of years ago. You mentioned KZ. How about Jeff Godfrey coming in and have a very good year his freshman year? Dante, obviously. So it's happened before, and this kid looks like he's got the talent. He's got that different style of play. This is more similar to Mackenzie Milton than Dillon Gabriel. He likes to run around a lot. He likes to, throw on the run. It's going to throw a couple passes that are going to have you shake your head, and sometimes they're going to complete them. You're going to say, how the heck did he do that? And sometimes he's going to throw an interception on it, and you're going to say, well, there goes the freshman again. But it's going to be exciting. When KZ came in and that game against Maryland, yeah, he fumbled 5 times, but he also made some incredible plays on that game where you said, whoa, you could see the potential out of that kid. Yeah. So get ready for some excitement here in these next few weeks. It's going to be fun. I think he's going to be fine. It's going to be interesting. I think Gus is going to do a good job of utilizing his strengths. He's going to be rolling him out of the pocket a lot and doing stuff like that. So I think I'm glad the first game's against a team like Navy, who doesn't seem to be that formidable right now. Get his feet wet, and we got East Carolina, a couple games where he should be able to get into a rhythm here and see what he's got.
Well, you mentioned Joey Gatewood. He came in for a few plays during the game against Louisville. I suspect, to your point, Mike, you'll see a package of plays for Gatewood. He's, again, more of that running style back. If you think back to the Gus Malzahn offense when Cam Newton was at quarterback, again, please don't mistake me. I'm not comparing Joey Gatewood and Cam Newton, but at least a similar style of package. Gatewood's only thrown 43 balls in his entire college career. He's got 2 touchdowns, and majority of those were in 2020 when he played for Kentucky. And so we don't know him to be much of a thrower, so I don't know how much of the offense will be with Gatewood sort of throwing the football. Will that be a wrinkle we see? Will it be some sort of a timeshare? I presume he's the backup now, Mike. I mean, I don't know how the depth chart will work. It'd be interesting to see when it comes out. Is he listed as the number 2 quarterback? Is that now Quadri is the backup? I don't know. I guess we'll see that, Mike. But should UCF fans have to level their expectations now? Obviously, Dillon Gabriel is a guy whose name is mentioned for top level quarterback awards, including the Heisman Trophy at times. Mikey Clean is a true freshman who's played all of 7 snaps. So should UCF fans have to, adjust their expectations for the rest of the season?
Yeah, we can't look at the season the exact same way we did a week ago when we had a full strength of players, and of course our best player in Dillon Gabriel. you're going to have to adjust your expectations a little bit. Not saying that we're not going to win a lot of these games. A lot of these games I still believe we should win. Now, they're going to be tougher. They're going to be a lot closer games than we thought. Games at home against an East Carolina or a Tulane are going to be a lot tougher than we thought they were going to be a few weeks ago. Now, there's games that we still should win handily, I think. The Temple game, they don't look good. The Cal game, they're no good. The games we should still have enough talent to get by and win by a couple scores. But there's the tough ones. Obviously, the two big road games, Cincinnati and SMU, those are going to be hard regardless, even with Dillon Gabriel in the game for us. Now those games got even tougher. So, but there's still some wins on this schedule here. And then we still have the other guys around Mikey Clean, and we still haven't seen what this kid can do. He may be turned out to be good. So I'm not saying we're going to win them all, but the expectations are still to compete for the conference championship. Wow. Get to the conference championship game. I
like optimistic Mike. I love optimistic Mike. I think that the difference here is going to really be, to me, what is Bowser's injury status, and when will he be back? Because the best thing you can do for a kind of a rookie or freshman quarterback is surround him with a really good running game. And obviously we saw the run game hit pretty good with Bowser in week 1 and week 2. We saw, again, it kick in spurts with Johnny towards the end of the game against Louisville. So if you can give him a good running game, Mike, that's the quarterback's best friend. So what's Bowser's status going to be? I think that's going to be a big part about it. And then the receivers, obviously Jalen Robinson, is he going to be back? And what's his stats look like? And then, Mike, we've got to figure out a way to get the tight ends and more involved. There was 1/3 of the tight end. Alec Collar got held. Hescock had an unfortunate penalty that moved UCF back. That really kind of ended their ability to go for a 4th down situation. So a tight end presence would be helpful as well for a young quarterback to kind of find someone over the middle. So, it's not going to be all on him, to your point. And, if we have a solid running game and then you can use play action, you can get him on the run a little bit. You can throw some of those, Gus Malzahn tunnel screens. I mean, he can get a rhythm. There is an option here, but to me, it all hinges on how well Bowser and the running game are going to perform.
Right. And you mentioned the tight ends. Tight ends, this would have been a perfect game for them if, in fact, that they were dropping all these guys back in coverage and covering those deep passes. This is where we could have used the tight end right over the middle for a nice 6-7 yard pass. Obviously, we didn't see any of it this game. I don't know how much we're going to see in the tight ends this year. So far, after 3 games, it doesn't look like they're that involved in the offense. But yeah, the running game is going to be key. Obviously, now Bowser is the veteran player on the offense if he's back. And he needs to take charge of this team and lead the offense. We can build our game on the ground. That's fine. And Mikey Clean is just going to have to run the offense around him and make this a run first team, which I think Gus wanted to run first anyway. Yeah. Even with Dillon Gabriel. But, balance. We're going to have to find some way to keep some balance.
Yeah, so obviously the rest of the injuries will be key, Mike. But I think to your point, as much as the Dillon Gabriel out and Mikey Clean in scenario is going to prove big for the future of the season, I think the defense is going to prove just as big, if not bigger, because even if Mikey Clean goes and balls out with his head, like his head's cut off, if we can't stop anybody, it's not going to matter. So I'm really curious to see. And Gus was a little bit cagey in his answers this week. He said that essentially the secondary did need to get a little bit better. He said he thought they contained Malik Cunningham well. I'm not sure if he was just trying to be nice or what. But Mikey Clean can throw for 7,000 yards in a game, and if we give up 8,000, it's not going to matter. So I think as much as the offense is going to get some of the attention here, it's really the defense. Because if the defense can play well and give Mikey a chance to make plays, that's going to be a huge recipe as well. So if we have a good defensive unit, a solid running game, you can throw a freshman quarterback in there as long as he can make enough plays. That's a recipe for wins. But if the defense isn't going to step up, Mike, it's going to be, I don't care what Mikey does. He can throw it up himself and go catch it. It's not going to matter.
Right, and we can't fall behind big in games anymore. No more there's going down 21-0. No more down at the half every week stuff, because with the freshman quarterback, you can't rely on this kid to bring you back like we did with Dillon Gabriel. We're down 2 scores going into the half against Boise. We feel comfortable down 10. We felt fine. I felt fine anyway at the half, only down 7 this week. But if we're that way with a freshman quarterback and you got to put all this weight on this kid's shoulders, that's not going to be good. So the defense does need to step this thing up, and the running game is going to be the first thing to help. We got to start controlling the ball now a lot more. Now that we're getting into conference play, I think we can do this. Louisville showed to be a big, tough team compared to us. They pushed us around, a little bit. They hurt us. And I don't think we're going to run into too many teams in our conference that will be able to do that.
Well, you mentioned, obviously, really the season starts this now. I mean, it's a bye week this upcoming week, but the season starts now because now we're in conference play. And if we take care of business in the conference, a lot of the same goals are still in front of us, right? And so I think, that's Gus's message. He said they have a 24-hour rule in the facility. After 24 hours, win or loss, you move on to the next game. So with conference play coming up, it's in theory a brand new season. And it's a brand new optimism, and it's a good thing we got that first Gus Malzahn loss out of the way, Mike. We joked around all off season. What's going to happen when Gus loses that first one? Well, Gus got introduced. I don't know if he watches or listens to UCF Twitter, but Gus got introduced to UCF Twitter pretty quickly, Mike, with his first loss, and obviously it comes in a heartbreaker. But is the Gus Malzahn / T Will, is the honeymoon over now, Mike? Is he is he just now going to be treated like every other UCF coach, or is the honeymoon still going on for Gus and T Will?
Yeah, I wouldn't say the honeymoon's over yet. I mean, it's one loss. There's still a lot of season left. We've had some very good seasons. Some of the best years in UCF history are years where we lose games like this on the road early. I mentioned 2010, the Kansas State game. We lost to NC State at home. We ended up going on to win the conference that year. 3-loss season, still a very good year. You go to a bowl game, you beat Georgia in the Liberty Bowl. That's viewed as one of the better seasons in UCF history. 2007, we get destroyed by the Cows early in the year, come back and win a conference that year. Still viewed as a very good season. Even 2005, losing a couple games early, competing, getting to the conference championship game. These are very good years. Still a lot to play for here. The goal has always been for this season, get to the conference championship game. I think that was the line where we said that's a good season. We haven't played in the championship game now for the last couple seasons. We got to get to that game. And if we lose a tough game on the road to Cincinnati in the championship, you live with it, like we did in 2012 when you go to Tulsa and you lose the championship game on the road. But you're there and you're showing that the team can compete. I think that's still there for us. I mean, we could probably lose one more game and still get there. If we lose to Cincinnati and win the rest of our conference games, I think we're back in Cincinnati at the end of the year for one more game.
Yeah.
So there's still plenty to play for. Long way to go. Like you said, the season starts now. We're 0-0 in conference, just like everybody else.
0-0 is a good record to have, obviously. And yeah, to your point, obviously it's a long season. I think what's interesting too, Mike, is, let's not forget for 2020, I mean, there was home field advantage in a lot of cases was negated because there was no home crowd. And so now a lot of strange things are happening around college football. A lot of teams are playing, interestingly, and a lot of upsets are taking place. And so I think having fans back, again, it's been a year since some of these kids, were in front of fans again and screaming and yelling and hostile atmospheres. I'm not suggesting that's what Louisville was, because I think the Night fans actually did a freaking fantastic job taking over Louisville, and they were loud on TV, and that was really awesome to see. So hats off to everybody who traveled out to the game. But you're seeing a lot of these random things happen. It's a long season. You never know what's going to happen next. Cincinnati didn't look great against Indiana. They pulled it out late. And so you never know what's going to happen. Tulane is playing pretty well. It's a long season. And I think for those who are like, hey, this is over because of one loss and because of Dillon, I get the Dillon element, right? And saying, hey, we're losing our best player. That can never be good. And that's correct. But I think there's still a lot of season in front. A lot of things can take place. And it's football, man. It's an oblong-shaped ball. It bounces in a funny way. That's why it's designed that way. You just never know what's going to happen, Mike. Well, two things I think that are coming up, though, post this that I don't know if you want to get into it now or not. It probably doesn't even feel appropriate right now, but people are asking, is Dillon Gabriel done at UCF, right? Obviously, he's a junior, third year removed from high school, which means at the end of the season, he would be draft eligible, Mike. And people are already asking 3 days later after he's been injured, is his time at UCF done? I don't even know if it's early enough to address that. I know that we're the speculation podcast around here, Mike, but it feels a little bit premature to discuss, Dillon Gabriel's next career decision.
I was on record as saying I thought he was coming back next year, even if he had a good year this year. Unless he's graded out as a first-round draft pick, I think he'd be smart to come back for another year. Now with the injury, I think he almost has to, unless you throw in this whole transfer portal thing, and we've already seen it happen once. Mackenzie Milton, let's say Mikey Clean comes in here and lights the world on fire, and he's got 3 more years of eligibility after that. And he's Gus's guy. I mean, Does Dillon want to come back, rehab, and sit behind Mikey Clean? I mean, that's a possibility, I guess. So is he done for his career at UCF? Maybe, but I think if he wants to play again, the door is definitely open. And I think he'll be back. And I hate to even think of him not coming back, man. Yeah. But I guess when we saw what happened with Mackenzie Milton, anything's possible at this point now.
Well, obviously there are three available options to him, right? I mean, it is return to UCF this season if he can and play. It is return to UCF next season and return and play. It is declare for the NFL draft, and it is hit the transfer portal. All four of those are really options available to him. This season, I think, depends on how we're doing and sort of where things are at. Mike, to your point, if Mikey Clean's lighting it on fire, we haven't lost a conference game, and Dillon is ready and is healthy, that's a tough decision to make down the road. And conversely, if we've lost 3 or 4 games and, there's no hope of any really big off-season or postseason ability for us, does he come back and even risk playing and getting hurt further? So there's still a lot to be had. I get the speculation needs to start soon and people can ask those questions, but let's let Mikey Clean take a snap first before we decide if we think that's going to be the end of Dillon's career, because there's still a lot of football left, Mike. People are also saying, hey, it would be great if KZ didn't transfer, right? Now KZ would have been here, he would have been in, and this would have been his team. And I get that actually would have been, as much as everyone loved the Florida State story, that would have actually been the Hollywood story where you stick it out on the team that came with you, and now you end up going back in, replacing one of your close friends who got injured, and you lead that team back to glory, just like you did back in the day. That would have actually been the Hollywood script. But that assumes that essentially Mackenzie would have been like, hey, I'm just going to wait around one day and hope Dillon gets hurt. Like that's just not a good thing to do. I don't think that's what anybody wants to have happen. So people are all saying, hey, if Mackenzie hadn't left, he'd be playing right now. Yes, probably technically true, but I actually think that's a waste of everyone's brain power to have that thought process, because that just wouldn't make any sense for Mackenzie to have stuck around if he thought he could play and wait for Dillon to go down.
Yeah, that's talk about playing the result. I mean, nobody saw that coming. Nobody wished that to come. Mackenzie would probably feel worse than anybody to have to take over because of an injury to one of his best friends. But, I mean, as a fan, you think of all kinds of different situations. If Mackenzie Milton was here, how awesome would that be?
Oh, yeah.
He'd be playing.
That would be, again, that's the Hollywood ending, right? Like the kid who you brought to UCF who took over for you and did great things. Now he's hurt and you're the sort of the old veteran guy, the guy who taught you the ropes. Now you're going to come in and take. I mean, that is a Hollywood story. If I've ever seen a script, which I have not, I feel like that would have been one of those that you're right.
They wouldn't even have. You couldn't get that past the studio. They would say that it's a little too crazy, right? Yeah. That the whole thing is just too much, and unfortunately, we were never going to find that out.
Yes. But I saw that trending around on Twitter, and I just thought that was something to worth bringing up. So again, obviously not where we all thought we'd be. 2-1 now after the game against Louisville. Again, even worse now with the news on Dillon Gabriel, and even maybe more worse and the other litany of guys that are injured. Again, the good thing about it, Mike, is this bye week comes at a perfect time. Gives guys another week to get healed up. Not the least of which, by the way, we forgot all about Matt Lee. I mean, he did not play in this game. Obviously, we saw a couple struggles on the offensive line. He might have made a big difference. So gives guys another week to get healthy. As we know more, if we hear more, we do not expect to be hearing from Gus Malzahn or anybody in the coaching staff the remainder of this week since it's a bye week. And a lot of the coaches are out on the road right now, according to Gus. So probably going to be a little quiet unless someone's leaking some news out. So if we hear some of that stuff, we will let you know, of course, Mike. But that's our first initial glance at the game. We're going to take a deep dive coming up right after this break here. And we'll give you our categories from the Louisville game. We'll also throw in some UCF observations. Sons of UCF.
This is UCF Athletic Director Terry Mohajir, and in my spare time, when I'm not on TikTok, I'm listening to Adam and Mike on the Sons of UCF. Go Knights and charge on!
Now let's dive into this now, Mike. Obviously, we touched on a lot of this already, but we'll quickly kind of roll through the categories. Again, each week we pick out 3 things that really kind of stuck out to us and we talk about them a little bit more in detail. And we use previous bowl games to sort of categorize them, with the two best options being a Peach and a Liberty, and the two worst options being a Hawaii and now the Boca Bowl. And so we'll each go through three things, and we'll tell you what we thought of it and give you a category and a quick little breakdown. Mike, you lead off. What's the first thing caught your eye?
I'm going to have to go straight to the bad stuff. The worst things, I think, that happened, and we mentioned a lot of it already. The injuries all over the field. Starting with Matt Lee, going back to the last game, Gus mentioned how he tried. He did everything he could to get out there for warm-ups, and he tried to give it a go, just couldn't do it. And that's where it starts, man. This guy is a warrior, a leader on this team. If he can start at center, that changes everything around the offensive line. Cole Schneider did a good job, but he's not at his natural position. And then you got backups coming in to fill in. It changes everything. So you're talking about that play at the end of the game where somebody's maybe not picking up a protection or whatever it is, and Dillon has to let go of the ball a little earlier. If you have your full complement of offensive linemen, who knows if that changes anything. Then, of course, you Bowser, like you said, only gets 6 carries in this game, out early. That's a big blow. Thornton, probably our best cornerback, he's out. Bethune, Ricky Barber, Jay Flash, big cat in and out of the game. And then, of course, the big one to Dillon Gabriel that's going to haunt us now for the rest of this season. Just too many injuries, man. I can't remember a game where this many guys and this many key players getting hurt in one game, and we have no answers on any of them. We don't know. It would have been nice if Gus came out and said, no, Jay Flash, yeah, he's a little nicked up. He's fine. He'll be back out there next week. Thornton, yeah, he's day-to-day, and in 2 weeks he'll be – we didn't get any of that. Who knows how long these guys are going to be out? The only one we know for sure is Dillon's going to be out for a while. Everybody else, still a question mark, and there's big question marks now going forward. The depth of this team, are we prepared to keep going now for these next few weeks without these guys?
Yeah, I mean, and don't forget, too, that's just this game. I mean, leading into the season, we lost R.J. Harvey to an ACL. Jarvis Ware, who transferred from Missouri, was one of the guys we thought could play corner. Sounds like he's still got some injury bug he's fighting. We don't know if Mark Anthony Richards is really fully healthy. So it seems like from the day camp started, we've been dealing with injuries, and so it's almost like a continuation. Here's one thing I did find interesting, and I don't know if this is a Gus Malzahn thing, but I will say this: the guys who played well against Bethune, especially in that second and third team, those guys got a lot of run in the game against Louisville, right? So what I do like is that Gus evaluated the film, and a guy like Trillian Coles, who typically under previous systems would have come in, would have run for 8 yards and 8 carries and 600 yards and 3 touchdowns and never saw the field again. He was right back into this week. Caden Robinson, who had a nice touchdown reception, against Bethune, he was in the game a lot. I didn't see Titus on the field, Mike. I don't know if Titus was on the field or not, but he's obviously somebody who had played the first game. So it appears, though, that Gus was definitely rewarding the guys who had been playing well, or at least got in the game and played well, which certainly hopefully works out. But to your point, we can't keep withstanding these injuries. God love Anthony Montalvo, but Andre Ware just killed him on the broadcast, where all the basically he blamed all of UCF's rushing deficiencies on Montalvo, and then when he didn't blame him on Montalvo, he blamed him on Bryson Armstrong. So obviously guys playing out of position. We need guys to get back. Trayvon Morris-Brash, while not an injury, was not in the lineup for other reasons as well. So it does feel like we've been snake bitten here for the first 3 months of the season so far.
Yeah, I didn't even think about Titus not getting in there much. He's not. Did he participate? Well, he was in the game. Yeah, you know how many snaps he took? He didn't get any catches.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't returning any punts.
I know he was on punt return, so he's listed as a participant in the game, but he didn't have any catches. I don't know if he had any targets or anything like that. I don't think he did, actually. Now that I think about it, but I'll check that quickly.
Hopefully that's not another injury that we don't know about. It has something happened maybe in practice or off the Bethune game. So, just injuries, war of attrition. That's what Torchy always taught us. Football is a war of attrition. We're going through it now. How much can we withstand? And hopefully these guys can come back healthy relatively quickly.
According to UCFsports.com, Titus 1 snap on offense.
That doesn't seem right? And especially when you got other guys going down with injuries. Jay Flash out for a while. Titus made a huge play in that first game against Boise State. For him not to be in more than a play, it seems like something else is going on.
Well, you got Jalen with 31, O'Keefe at 66, Nate Craig Meyer snuck in for a play, Titus with 1, Brandon Johnson 63, Amari Johnson 25, Caden Robinson 23. So it looks like if Titus didn't play, some of those snaps probably got split between Amari and Caden in some form or fashion on the field. So yeah, only one out of Titus. But again, whether to your point that's a performance thing or if that's an injury thing, I don't really know. But we absolutely cannot withstand this level of injury. I mean, I don't know what can be done. I mean, was Louisville going for people's knees all night? Like, I don't want to speculate that, but I don't know what can be done as a team to not get injured because sometimes that just happens. But obviously, it's clear that we don't have the depth, particularly against a team that's going to be this physical, to go on the road and win a tough game like this. And that obviously showed true on Friday night.
Right. And you look at the more successful seasons we've had, you stay relatively injury-free. I know Jawan Hamilton went down early in 2017, but the rest of that year, most of the guys, we did pretty well on the injury front. So that's going to be key going forward. And the more guys we lose, we got to go now a few games without any major injuries. It's been too much already too early in the year. So we're due to have a stretch or a month or two maybe where we can stay healthy.
All right, Mike, my first category, I'm going to go really granular in this one. I'm going to give this a Boca, and this is going to be our drive after we stopped Louisville on the fake punt attempt. So Louisville decides to fake punt right near midfield. UCF snuffs it out. In TV, it seemed really telegraphed that's what was coming. But either way, UCF snuffs it out. Momentum changing at that opportunity. Again, at this point, we hadn't, been having a ton of success on offense. I think we'd been a tad inconsistent at that point. And so we finally make a play, Mike. We snuff it out. We've got some momentum in our midst. Things are looking up for us, and this is our opportunity. We're gonna make it work, right, Mike? By the way, the score is tied 28-all at that point, right? So 1st and 10, incomplete pass to Ryan O'Keefe. 2nd and 10, complete pass to Johnny Richardson for 1 yard. 3rd and 9, complete pass to Trajan Coles for 3 yards. And then we boom a 36-yard punt, Mike. Talk about an opportunity in the fourth quarter. We got the ball back with about 12 minutes and 29 seconds on the clock. Tie ball game. Right then and there, we had a golden opportunity. The momentum kind of came back our way. Defense finally made a big stop. That would have been a great opportunity to dial up, whatever it is you can dial up. I don't know what the play calls were. I don't know what the defense and the coverage was, but obviously that was not a great drive. And then to put salt in the wound, we punt to Louisville, and 4 plays later, they're running the exact same trick play we ran, and they had a pass from a running back to a wide open wide receiver for 45 yards and a touchdown, and Louisville takes the score 35-28, Mike. So opportunity on our side, momentum on our side, big stop, midfield. We have a chance to do something, and we go 3 and out, Mike. That was just a killer of a drive.
Yeah, that's a backbreaker. You get all the momentum. That fake punt, man, when we snuffed that out, I said, for sure we're going to score here. We're going to take the lead in this game. We're going to win this game. And nothing. A dud right there right away. I don't know what to tell you, man. To be honest, I've kind of blocked that drive out of my head. I have to go back and watch it. This is one game where I did not go back and watch.
Yeah. Yeah.
I usually go back and watch all the games afterwards. I don't want to. I don't want to watch it. I watched the highlights to refresh just because of this show. Otherwise, I wouldn't even have done that. Man, yeah, that's a killer. I mean, we have the ball and such good field position too.
Yep.
To really take control of the game. We could have gotten on a nice drive, killed some time, gotten the score. And instead, nothing. They get the ball back. And, yeah, they hit us with the same exact play that we hit them with. That was a ball breaker, too.
Yeah. Well, that's the tough part about it is, Mike, and I'm as guilty as anybody, as I said this a few different times, and that you felt like you had more trust in Gus Malzahn, that he had a plan, he had a strategy. He knew what he was going to do. He was able to make good play calls and make the right play calls. And that was a drive in particular, and that was a period of time in that game where that just wasn't true. And this was one of those drives where if Gus had, 2 or 3 great play calls, this would have been ideal time to break those out. again, I didn't go back and look at the film on all these. Perhaps there was something amiss on each and every one of these, which just means execution, wasn't great on our side, or that the call was bad. But that was just a backbreaking call, Mike, and could have been an opportunity for us to maybe take a lead with a field goal, even, God forbid, or even a touchdown at that point, and maybe the game turns all the way around. But alas, we waste that one. So I'm going to give the Boca to that singular possession that I think cost us a big chance to do something really good in that game, Mike. What is your second observation this week?
Yeah, just one more thing on that. Anytime that you stop a team on fourth down, like we did early in the game, where you get a turnover on that at midfield, I always like to go deep right away.
Play, yep.
Right? And it worked early, the very first drive of the game. It worked. That would have been a good time to do it. Now, like you said, you got to go back and look. Maybe those guys were covered, and that's why he dropped it down, because those two passes, 1 yard and 3 yards. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there had to be something down the field that just wasn't open. Well, that's got to be the only explanation.
And that's what I was at. Like, is Ronnie Lott back there roaming the secondary and we don't see him? Like, cause that's the thing that was, I guess, a tad head scratching is for those of us who are watching on TV, they were not showing the wide shot. So you had no idea. They showed 0 replays of the secondary. So you have no idea what kind of coverage they were running. And then I didn't even know how many receivers were running routes out there. I mean, there was literally just the camera did not move off the line of scrimmage unless the ball moved. So it was hard to tell what that coverage looked like. But yeah, that was a backbreaker, Mike. If we can get any sort of points there, God Almighty, it's a different ball game.
Yeah. All right. So for my next one, I'm going to give a liberty out to Johnny Richardson. Johnny Richardson stepped up and he showed he can be electric. This kid. 9 carries, 101 yards on 9 carries. Throw in a 43-yard kick return. I'm telling you, this kid is going to take one to the house. I just get that feeling now. Every time he touches the ball and he has a chance to return it, he's going to do something with it. We've seen some good ones already out of him this year. So I like what I'm seeing out of him. How about the game-tying drive at the end of the game? He gets the ball 4 times. He goes for 9 yards, plus a 15-yard face mask penalty, a 23-yard run, a 5-yard run, and a 19-yard run to set up the game-tying touchdown. That's 56 yards rushing on that final drive there. 71 total if you want to throw in the face mask. He took us the whole field. It was the Johnny Richardson show for that drive. Malzahn said he came in and he did a good job blocking. I got to take his word for that one. Mm-hmm. And when we came into this season, I might be wrong. Maybe I'm misremembering. I always thought I had him as my breakout player of the year. Isn't that right? I know I've said that about him at some other time. I don't know if I did it during the Sunnies, but I thought this guy could come in and have a really good year this year. And he's showing that he's showing flashes that he can do it. We've seen him already with the kick returns in the first couple games. Now he's going to get his opportunity. If Bowser is not healthy, and he's going to get his chance now to show what he can do. Him and Coles, I really like Johnny Richardson, man. I've been waiting for a couple years now to see this guy on the field. Even last year, he showed flashes until he had that one fumble, never really got back on the field after that. But I think now Malzahn's going to give him a chance, and I like to see what he can do.
Yeah, that was awesome. I think that if I have any complaint, and it's not Johnny's fault, and this is where I said this earlier after the Bowser injury, it seemed like Malzahn didn't know where to go, and it took a while for him to find the hot hand. And I know we talk about this sometimes in basketball, sometimes, in baseball, whatever. But it felt like he was searching around. He tried Trillion. He played well. He had 80 yards rushing, Mike, off the top of my head. I can't remember what exactly we had. Trillion played well. He brought Mark Antony in for a couple of snaps. Trillion back again. Bowser came in and tried to give it a go. He couldn't make it happen. It seemed like it just took Gus a while to figure out who had the hot hand. And I think that's part of what he has to do as a play caller is who is that guy? Who's got the hot hand? Because it was pretty obvious, to your point, 9 for 103. Trillion had 8 carries for 51 yards. It was obvious at that point who had the hot hand once we figured it out. But it just took Gus a little bit too long to figure out who that was. Because if we get that consistent running game, in the third quarter as well, again, a whole different ballgame potentially.
Yeah, if Bowser is not able to start against Navy, I want to see Richardson in the backfield first. I think that is the way to go. Him and Coles are similar. They're both smaller guys, fast guys. That's why you like the combination with Bowser. You want a bigger running back. But we're kind of running out of the bigger guys already. We already lost Bentavious. We already lost R.J. Harvey. And now Bowser is hurt for now. So we're left with nothing but smaller, quicker running backs. but I think Johnny could be the best of them all. So let's see what he can do here in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, he played well. I think our bigger running backs will be Joey Gatewood at the quarterback spot. And Mike, don't forget, we brought in Woody Barrett, the former quarterback, now running back, now wearing number 24, oddly enough, for UCF. He's a big boy, 6'5", I believe, if I had that right. So maybe he works his way in to get some big carries at some point, but we'll see how long the Bowser injury is. But you're absolutely right. Johnny was electric, averaging 11 yards a carry, and that's fantastic. If he has a chance, let's see if Gus can figure out who has the hot hand. I think the faster we do that, the better off we'll be, Mike. I'm going to go with Liberty as well here. And this is maybe just this game in particular, but also just this season. I'm going to give my Liberty to Ryan O'Keefe. I changed this up. I was going to go a different direction here, but I'm going to go Ryan O'Keefe. On the day, he had four for 74 and a touchdown. Again, he had the first touchdown on that pass right off the top, Mike. And even on the broadcast, they talked about how fast he just ran past everybody. Later on, he throws a 20-yard strike to Dillon Gabriel, which, if you were at the spring game, you saw that play come about. And look, that's not easy to do, guys. With a receiver who's not a natural quarterback, the play has to be perfect. Any number of screwy things can happen there. And he threw a fantastic pass back to Dillon, and Dillon obviously took it to the house for the touchdown. So to execute a trick play is, while it's fun and it's fancy and it looks fun, obviously any number of things can go wrong, similar to what Mike just dropped there while he's doing something. So any number of things can go wrong on that. But O'Keefe's just been solid throughout the year, Mike. I think we knew he'd be good, but he's tied for the lead with catches on the year at 15. He's second in receiving yards, right behind Jalen Robinson with 229. Last week we talked about all the yak yardage he had, and UCF found ways to give him the ball. He just played another solid game. They have him with 6 targets and 4 catches. I don't know if that means those are 2 drops or 2 through throws that just didn't get to him, Mike. But Ryan O'Keefe, again, just really solid. He was really kind of the last man standing receiver-wise. Him and Brandon Johnson seemed to really be bringing that receiving core from a consistency standpoint. So I'm going to go Ryan O'Keefe with a Liberty. I thought, again, that touchdown pass was probably harder than it looks, and that was a great catch off the top.
Yeah, O'Keefe has been great. He's been great these first few weeks. We were waiting another guy that we saw last year, in spurts, and showed what he can do. Everybody knows the play against Memphis, but he's doing it all over the place now this year. He's catching everything. He's even throwing a pass. He's doing it on handoffs and jet sweeps. So he is a big weapon on this offense. And so far, so good, man. He looks like he can be another one of these special players for us. So you're right. He had another very good game. And he had a great game the week before against Bethune, and then he followed it up with this one. So consistency, that's going to be key going forward too.
And I'm not going to lie to you, I wouldn't have been mad if that last play went to either him or Brandon Johnson and in front of Amari Johnson. Not that anything against Amari Johnson, but I wouldn't have been mad if either one of those 2 guys were the guys on that route.
Yeah. Well, we have more confidence in those guys so far. Amari, we haven't seen as much out of him. And now this is the one play that's going to be sticking in our head for the next 2 weeks until we can see him do something else. So, but O'Keefe, no complaints about O'Keefe so far this year. He's been great.
All right, last up, what do you got?
I got another Boca Bowl. Obviously, we had plenty of bad things happen. This one's going to the fans.
Oh, hello, fans.
And not the fans that went to the game. Those guys were great.
Oh, yeah, you guys are fantastic. Yes, absolutely. By the way, everybody who went out there on TV, you could visibly hear and see UCF fans everywhere. And really wasn't until Louisville got some momentum that you actually realized that those weren't red seats. So kudos to everybody who got out to Louisville. That was a fantastic sight.
Yeah, I mean, UCF fans are traveling pretty well in the last few years. And that was great to see. But those are not the fans I'm talking about. I'm talking about, I guess we're big time now. We are moving into the P5, and these are P5 problems to have. And the fans just it's too much with the overreactions to these games and on social media, directly saying things to the players. It's a little out of control. And we've talked about a couple of weeks ago, maybe it's just the youth of this fan base, the fans at home giving the FU chance to the opposing team. But now to take it over to your own guys, just keep it to yourself, man. What good is going to come out of doing this in social media and on the message boards, bad-mouthing your own team? Text one of your buddies. That's what I did. I texted you the next day. I don't post anything during the game. I don't ever.
Yeah, you shouldn't post those texts. No.
But yeah, send it to you. You're not going to tell anybody what I said. Send it to one of your buddies and be done with it. You get it out of your system. but it doesn't need to be made public. Whatever happened to just coming home and kicking the dog? People don't do that anymore. Now everybody's.
You have a dog? I don't know.
Yeah, I know. And if he's barking during the live show, I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna Matt Prater him across the living room too.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's other ways to get this out of your system without having to make it public, and it's just embarrassing as a fan base to see some UCF fans do the things they do, and guys blaming Dillon Gabriel. Dillon Gabriel was accounted for 5 touchdowns in this game. He threw for 3. He ran for 1. He caught 1. Yeah, he didn't throw for 300 yards, but he's not the reason we lost. And people are out there saying, oh, he still can't win the big one. I can't put this game on him. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Right? And the last play of the game that he threw the interception, it went right in the guy's hands. It bounced off. What else do you want the kid to do? I think it's just maybe this would have been like this if we had the internet or we had social media when we were students. Maybe we would have been guilty of this. I don't know. But now that it is around, I don't know what we got to do, man. We got this. And I guess it's all big time schools go through this. And this is just a product of being 2021.
Well, I don't get the sense that
I hate it.
I don't get the sense that the people who are doing that are college kids. That's the thing, Mike. I mean, I think, yeah, maybe college kids are doing, but I don't get the sense that the things we're seeing on social media and Twitter and the message boards, I don't think those are college kids. I think those are grown-ass adults. And that's probably the other scary thing about it is sure, if it's like a 19-year-old kid who just is going to say something dumb, all right, what are you going to do? But I don't think it's college kids who are making a lot of these comments. And you're right. I think, you know, what to me, you can voice a frustration like, oh my God, well, how are we losing this game, right? Or, man, we've got to get a stop here. Or, man, the defense has got to step up. I think it's okay to voice a general frustration about the way the team's playing. But I think if you're going to start using a player's name in the tweet, you know, I get the tough guy out there is like, oh, he's on TV. He's got to get used to it. Okay, sure, I guess, fine. But let's go to your job, and every time that you misstaple the document, we're throwing it on Twitter, right? Like, I think that's the analogy I would give you. I mean, I think it's okay to be frustrated with the team when they're not playing well. I think it's okay to say, hey, oh my God, what are we doing? Or we've got to score here. Or, man, let's make a catch here. Who can make a big play? I think that's perfectly fine in the context of cheering your team on. And if they lose, man, this sucks. I can't believe we lost. How'd we lose that team? God, our defense, we got to get better. I think those are all relatively fair game, right? It's all you voicing your concern. I think when you take it personal to a specific person, I think that's one thing. And really the thing I'm sick of the most, Mike, is Knight fans attacking Knight fans, right? So someone going, man, that third down defense was huge. And then first guy in's like, no, it wasn't. When I played, our defensive coach always said, and then you've got like a 95 like string like Twitter message like fight over whether or not the third down call was great. And it's just back and forth, and it just doesn't do anything. Like, I don't know what fighting with each other is going to solve, and I don't know what makes someone feel like, are you going to win the like, hey, I won the argument on Twitter? Is there something coming to your house that you're going to get like an award? Is there some sort of a stipend that comes your way? I mean, I get healthy discourse. I get talking about things and sharing viewpoints, but sometimes it just gets out of control with all the back and forth and all the friendly fire between Knights fans. So I agree. It was definitely a tough. And even Big Cat, I don't know if did you see Mike Big Cat tweeted on Saturday, right around the time that the Auburn Penn State game was on, and after Auburn lost, he tweeted one word, which was whelp. And I don't know if you read the comments, but I mean, they just are horrible comments. And I don't even know what he was referring to. It probably was the Auburn game. I think that makes sense. But I mean, the people responding back to Big Cat's whelp was out of control. I tweeted something on Saturday, Mike. I tweeted the sun came up, which I thought was the least controversial thing I could think of. But yet some jackass got into, I don't even follow him, he doesn't follow me, got in there and proceeded to call me I forget what it was, but basically said that I was a loudmouth somebody or other telling people how to feel about things. I just said the sun came up. and somebody found a way to argue against the sun. So it's unfortunate. I have no idea why. I guess, again, there's frustration. I get it. I don't know. But it definitely is. It's an ugly side of social media. It's an ugly side of some of the stuff. Again, I get being passionate. I get, having discourse. But I think that at times it's just everyone just take a step back, put the phone down, and think about it for 5 minutes, right?
Dude, I was pissed at the end of that game. I was just as pissed as probably anybody else. I don't know if you can find people that were more upset after this game than me. But there's no need to take it out on the players. And not publicly anyway. If you know the guys, back when we were in school, we knew a couple of the players, and you want to say it to their face, how'd you fumble the ball at the end of that game? Then you do it that way. But to do it this way, it's kind of cowardly. And the players want to win more than anybody else. I mean, for as much as we want to see these guys win, these guys are putting in hours all off season, the training, the practices. You don't think Amari Johnson is losing sleep over having that ball go off his shoulder? I mean, I can't imagine what these guys are going through, and the pressure that's put on these kids to perform every single week by all these people that don't even know them, right? Strangers that are counting on them. My weekend is ruined because of a 19-year-old kid. It's kind of ridiculous when you think about it. But
it depends what he did.
True.
But yes,
it's true. The rest of my weekend sucked.
Yeah.
I had to find I couldn't watch football anymore. It ruined football for me for the weekend. But I'll get over it, and these kids are going to get over it too. And it's good that we have a bye week this week because of the injuries, but it sucks that we have a bye week this week because we just want to get back out there and put a W on the board, get things rolling back in the other direction.
Well, what's interesting is somebody on social media said this, and I hadn't even thought about it, but there was I forget who the tweet was. Someone said something like, "This is terrible play calling," or "Look at this, just trash play calling." And one of the recruits, I think it was the offensive lineman out of Texas, liked the tweet. And I hadn't really considered it until someone brought it up. I think it was maybe the message board. I think it was in the dungeon, so I don't remember. So I apologize if that was you. But recruits are seeing these. I mean, recruits are on social media more than probably fans are, right? And if they're seeing all of the, the tweets, all the things, all the negative stuff, to your point, it's probably every fan base. But you got to wonder what a recruit thinks when they're like, man, I wonder if the play calling's that bad, or man, these guys are that bad, or wow, like I don't know, the fans were like this. Like you just wonder if that factors in at all. Probably not, Mike, because every school does it. But I didn't recognize or realize that that's probably a really unbecoming look for recruits who are checking out UCF to see fan base and people just talking a whole bunch of crap all over the internet.
Yeah, it can't be good, right? It definitely cannot be good. I don't know where else to go with this. The fans stuff, I don't think it's going to end anytime soon. In fact, it's getting worse year after year. So unless we win every single game, there's always going to be – and even when that happens, then you just get the haters from other schools, which I can live with more than our own guys going after each other. So I don't know, man. I don't know what to do with these fans except every once in a while get on here and tell them how much of an idiot they are. But well, other than that, I guess they're going to keep continuing to do it.
Mission accomplished on that one, Mike. And quickly, my last one is third down conversions. UCF was 2 of 10 on third down conversions, 20%. Obviously, that is not good enough, Mike. We were not able to figure out ways to extend drives, and that was a backbreaker. I have all of them listed here. I'll run through them quickly. I'm sure this will be a scintillating exercise for all of you out there. We had a 3rd and 9 in the first quarter. We threw a 6-yard pass. We had a 3rd and 2 in the first quarter. We got a 6-yard run, converted. In that same drive, we had a 3rd and 3. We did not get it, but we went through on a 4th down. That was the touchdown pass to Jay Flash. Second quarter, we had a 3rd and 22 through a 7-yard pass. Had another 3rd and 22 through an 11-yard pass. In the third quarter, had a 3rd and 3 through a 9-yard pass. That led to a TD drive. In the third quarter, we had another 3rd and 3. We got a penalty, moved back to 3rd and 8. We threw a 6-yard pass. In the third quarter, we had a 3rd and 12, an incomplete pass. Fourth quarter, we had a 3rd and 9. Pass was 3 yards. That was the drive after the block, after the 4th down fake punt, and then a 3rd and 5, and we threw an incomplete pass, Mike. So of the 2 drives where we actually converted 4th down, surprise, surprise, we ended up scoring on those drives. So UCF's inability to muster anything on 3rd down, and not even that, Mike, just some of these weren't even close. I mean, like a 3rd and 9, 6, a 3rd and 22, 7, 3rd and 22, 11, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 8, 6-yard pass, 3rd and 9, 3 yards. I mean, some of these weren't even close. They were a lot of checkdowns. Again, I don't know what kind of coverage that was happening. I'm not sure what the play calls were. I'm not sure if Dillon was just trying to get the ball and the guys' hands to make plays, but 2 for 10 on 3rd down is not going to cut it. You were probably going to lose pretty much every game you play in if that's what that stat's going to be.
Yeah, but some of those are not makeable. I mean, 3rd and 22, you cannot complain. You cannot think you're going to convert many of those all year. The 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9s are not easy either, and that's the problem is we got to get into 3rd and manageable. Yeah. How many of those were 3rd and long? Those are tough plays to make.
Well, just so you know, so the 3rd and 22 with the first one, we had a holding penalty. and then we had a 6-yard loss on a pass from Dillon to Johnny Richardson. The next 3rd and 22, we had a sack that Dillon took. So when we got behind the chains, we were not able to get out of it. We had a 3rd and 3 again, a false start on Sam Jackson, make that 3rd and 8. So any time that we had self-inflicted wounds, which I felt like we had more penalties in this game. Like I felt like the offensive line got flagged a little bit more. Now there's probably holding all over the field. There's a few plays that definitely looked like holding on Louisville that weren't called, but it seemed like the penalties also creeped their way back up, 7 for 55 overall. And the way we were executing any self-inflicted wound, we just obviously weren't able to overcome.
Yeah, penalties, especially on the road, those are always backbreakers. And if you have a 3rd and short and then you turn it into a 3rd and long because of a penalty, those are the most frustrating, right? You got a 3rd and 2, you're lining up for it, and then you get a false start. And it sets you back, and then you end up having to punt. We killed the drive early in the game because of that in the first quarter, I believe, or in the second quarter. And, things like that you just can't have, man. You can't have, especially on the road, tough environment against a team that is going to take advantage of it. You gotta capitalize on every chance you get, and we left too many of those on the field.
All right, well, that's our breakdown of the game. We're going to turn the page, Mike. That's the end of. We're not going to think about Louisville anymore until Thursday, probably in the live show. But we're going to turn the page. We're gonna stop thinking about the bad things that happened at Louisville. We're going to look forward to hopefully Mikey Clean taking over and us winning the American Conference, Mike. That'll be our energy now. But we'll do one last thing, UCF Observations. Obviously, Mike and I watch these games closely of any level of sobriety during the game. There are all kinds of thoughts and things that come in our head that we just don't have any other place to say. So that's where UCF Observations comes in, Mike. We have things that we want to share, and we'll do that now. So what's your first observation?
Oh, man. I hate that I love football so much. I really do. Going back on a personal note, the night before, on Thursday night, I suffered one of the most brutal losses with the Giants game. You saw the way that thing ended. A field goal that was no good. I thought we won, and it was a penalty, and then we lose. And then to follow that up with the way we lose this game, oh, my God. I wish I didn't care as much. I texted with you. We need to find a new hobby or something. I'd get into antiquing or something where you can't lose, right? The losing hurts you. And Coach O'Leary used to say it the most, you die a little bit every time you lose. And I died a little bit this weekend.
All right. Well, that's a somber note to start observations, Mike. But look, on the bright side, our fake punt defense was really good.
Yes, it was. That was a big play in this game. I was surprised. I don't want to say surprised, but that was huge. Very good play by the defense, special teams. I don't know if I want to bring this up, but is there a curse of Dante, we want to call it, a curse of the quarterbacks? Every time we get a quarterback that's about to break some of his records, something happens.
Oh, boy.
Schneider gets kicked off the team.
Oh, self-inflicted. Okay.
Mackenzie Milton looks like he's going to shatter all his records, and boom, he gets hurt. Now Dillon Gabriel comes in. He's only he's within striking distance of all his records, and now this.
Oh, boy.
I don't know, man. Is there a curse going on with our QBs?
Well, let's get Dante in the horn. Well, that's not going to work. Okay. Mike, if you watch the game and you had the sound up, based on the announcers, you would have thought that Malik Cunningham had a spleen removed in between plays. I mean, they were talking like Malik Cunningham was going to be hospitalized immediately after the game for multiple weeks, the way they were hyping up that injury. I don't know. Looked like an acting job to me.
Oh, he was acting. Did he run much afterwards?
He did. Did he run much? He ran for like 600 yards. He ran.
No, I know overall he did, but after the end, when he got hurt.
Well, when was the injury? No one knows when that happened. I mean, who knows?
All right.
Oscar.
Again, I'm back to the curses here.
Fake ace.
I have a Mackenzie Milton jersey that I think I'm going to have to burn it.
Boy.
Now, I don't wear it often. I bought this jersey after 2017. We just won the Peach Bowl. Here's the 4 times I wore it. You ready?
Yes.
First time, the opening game in 2018 at UConn. Okay, we do great, right?
Yep.
Very next time I wear it, the game against the Cows where he breaks his leg. And I say, I'm not going to wear this one for a while.
Yeah.
I decided to break it out, and I like to match the team. The team's wearing white. Okay, it's a white jersey. I'm going to break it out. Next time I wore it, the Pittsburgh game.
Oh.
We know how that one ended.
Yeah.
I haven't worn that jersey in 2 years. Well, the team's wearing white again this year. I'm going to the watch party. I want something white to wear. It's been enough time. McKenzie's back. He's healthy again. I'm putting it on. I don't think I can ever wear this thing again. The McKenzie Milton jersey, I'm going to have to burn it, donate it. What do I have to do to get rid of this?
I say you donate it, but so far the loss is either Dante's fault or yours. So I got to figure it. Let's put that on the poll at some point. Who's more responsible for this loss, Dante or UCF Mike? All right, everybody. Seriously, honor society here. Raise your hand. Who had Daniel Obarski perfect on field goal attempts through 3 weeks? He's perfect, Mike. He hasn't missed one yet.
Yeah.
He's perfect. Raise your hand if you had that.
Also, all extra points and no out of bounds.
Yeah. Who had it?
That's right. We're still better than FSU.
That's fair.
Right?
That's fair. Mike, I was really bothered by the logo. I think this was bouncing around on Twitter. Cardinals don't have teeth. Yet the Louisville logo had Cardinals with teeth. Cardinals don't have teeth, Mike, which, you know what it made me think about? I actually recruited my son for this one. Mike, my top 5 birds. Are you ready for my top 5 birds? Cardinals don't have teeth, but I hear 5 birds. I don't know if they have teeth or not. The first couple are courtesy of my 9-year-old. Number 5, Mike, are you ready for? I don't think you're ready yet. Are you? Did you not know the top 5 birds was coming? I feel bad when I hit you.
I never know your top 5 are coming.
I feel bad when I hit you with a top 5. Again, this was my son's idea. He wanted to get in there with top 5 birds. Then he got distracted with something else, and he forced me to finish up his list for him. So this is top 5 birds for both me and my little guy. Number 5, Blue Jays. I don't know why. Number 4, Parrots. This was his number 3, Mike. I think you're going to co-sign number 3 for him. The Peacock. I know you're a big fan of the Peacock. This is when he left the room and left me with the last 2. So my number 2 bird, the Stork. People forget about the stork. It delivered babies, Mike. I mean, what better bird than the stork, right?
All right.
And the number 1 bird, Larry, hands down.
Yeah, I was gonna say you better have Larry Bird in there. I was right. I came up with 2 while you're doing this list right now. Larry was one of them.
Okay.
You're missing a big one. Literally.
Big Bird, yeah.
Big Bird.
See, we weren't Sesame Street fans. I went with the stork because I feel like the stork has brought maybe more joy to people's lives than Big Bird. I don't know. Hot take.
I don't know about that one. Big Bird.
All right.
I feel there's got to be a couple more. Now I gotta.
Mike, this is the top 5. Are you arguing with the top 5 list? This is the definitive list. I had it in my pocket.
Well, you saved yourself with Larry because I thought you were going all traditional birds there for a second.
Mm-hmm. Not my
Sue
first
Bird?
time. Not my first. I thought about Sue Bird too. Actually, it's probably gender. I should have done that. Damn it. But again, the first 3 weren't mine. I let my son help me with the list, so I can't be held responsible for either the Blue Jay, the Parrot, or the Peacock.
Well, I don't like the Blue Jays. Obviously Toronto, and they're going to probably pass. Well, they've already passed the Yankees and play in the playoff game, so that's out. I like the Peacock.
Okay.
The Parrot, you got to be careful with the Parrot. Sometimes they talk too much.
Let me mark that one down for a future sounder. You got to be careful with the Parrot. All right. Continue.
We're still better than Miami, too.
Mm.
What do you think about that? Those guys suck, dude.
They did.
They are not good. We thought maybe the first week Alabama is Alabama, but they sneaked past Appalachian State, and now this week Sparty put it in them. So they're going to struggle with Central Connecticut State coming up this week. That's a tough one for them.
Yeah, I don't have a Mark Norvell joke this week. I retired the Mike Norvell jokes, Mike. A lot of controversy last week with uniforms. Maybe we need to switch Johnny Richardson to Adidas cleats now because he was falling all over the place. If he could only stand upright, I think he might have had at least 2 touchdowns.
He had over 100 yards. He might have had 150.
Yeah, he fell down a few different times. The turf monster got him.
Oh, man. Did you know that no Florida teams won against D1 teams this week?
I did know that. Yeah,
0.
Nice way to cut the cows out. I like that.
Yeah, because I'm not giving the cows beat FAMU. FAU beats Fordham. Only 2 teams that even win a game, but those don't count, obviously.
All right, I know it's a bye week, so maybe Coach Malzahn, if you're listening, I have a practice idea. You ready? Maybe we should start practicing how to tackle after an interception. I don't know. Just throw it out there. It feels like maybe we just need to work on quick change of possession, how we tackle the guy with the ball. Just throwing it out
there. 2 in 3 weeks. What was last? Can you even remember one before this? The last time this happened to us? I don't know. I'd have to think about it.
Yeah.
Oh man, Backbreakers.
Backbreakers.
The Gators wish they had Daniel Obarski on their team. They missed the extra point, and it ends up costing them. They have to go for 2 later in the game, and that's basically the reason they lost. They have Obarski. He doesn't miss those extra points.
Mike, I don't know if anyone's noticed. I don't know if you follow the news, but there are 2 hurricanes that are actually out in the Atlantic Ocean right now. They're no threat to the United States, Mike, but the 2 hurricanes are Peter and Rose. What are the odds of that? No, seriously, what are the odds of that? Because I think I know somebody who might want to bet on that for you, Mike. But you know what that got me thinking about, Mike? My top 5 list of hitters since 1970. All right, I don't want to go all the way back to guys who were in black and white. So since 1970, my top 5 hitters in honor of Pete Rose. Mike, are you ready for my top 5?
All right, I'm gonna have to. Yeah, go ahead.
All right, number 5, Pete Rose. He's the hit king, but he's a little sketchy. I don't know. Number 4, Mike, Tony Gwynn. I feel like Tony Gwynn gets a lot of disrespect. Tony Gwynn, top 5 hitter in my opinion. Number 3, Barry Bonds. Obviously, he hit home runs. He hit for average early in his career, but I think he's a lethal hitter. So he's my number 3 hitter. Number 2. Ichiro. The guy was always on base. I don't know how he did it. He seemed like he can get a hit no matter where the ball was at, up, down, left, right, inside, outside, didn't matter, Mike. And my number 1 hitter since at least the 1970s-ish is Miguel Cabrera. That's it. That's my top 5.
I got to tell you, just now, when you started doing the list, I started writing down a couple names here. I put Gwynn, Ichiro, Cabrera are in there.
Mm-hmm.
Bonds, obviously, yes.
Yeah. I just went with Pete Rose because Pete Rose was the reason for the jokes. I mean, Vlad Guerrero came up because he could hit anything, but wasn't a guy for average, so I didn't go Vlad Guerrero. I figured you'd throw a Yankee in there. Jeter obviously was kind of Mr. Clutchish, but I don't know. If he was 3,000 hits, that's a big mark. I don't know. So that's my top 5 list of hitters, Mike.
I got to tell you, one name I just jotted down too, a Red Sox actually. That killed the Yankees. Manny Ramirez.
Manny was good. Manny, I had Pujols was also eking around. Maybe he's trying to creep into the top 5. He was outside looking in.
Yeah, there's got to be a lot of recency bias there.
Oh,
the only guy that you threw back in there was Pete Rose.
I said 1970s though. 1970s. That wasn't going back to guys who were in black and white.
You should have just said 80s.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, I didn't. Rose played in this. I don't know. I was gonna basically since I was born is really what I was thinking about.
Right.
All right. Carry on.
Right.
My top 5.
We need more than
a double top 5, by the way. That double top. It doesn't happen all the time.
No, it doesn't. And I never see him coming.
I don't know how.
Trace Trelko. He continues to ask the tough questions at the press conference. I love it. This guy is showing stones, and he's showing Malzahn why this is the pressure cooker. Asking him directly. Why were you throwing the ball in that situation? Why are we not running? Mm-hmm. Good job at a Trace in the press conferences. I like it.
Speaking of Trace, Mike, and a lot you mentioned this before. A lot of people went up to the game. If only somebody on social media had taken a picture of the airport where it had a Louisville Cardinal sign as you got in. If only someone had taken that photograph. I didn't see it anywhere. I couldn't find any photographs of anybody taking a picture of the sign in the airport that said "Welcome to Cardinal Country."
No, it didn't say welcome to Cardinal. It says that you have landed where Cardinals fly.
Whatever. I mean, if only someone had taken a picture of that, I would have been fantastic.
Yeah. And going back to the Cardinals with teeth thing, I don't know if it's true, but I've heard that Papa John requested that the teeth be put in there so that the Cardinal could eat the pizza.
I've heard that too. I think that seems plausible, although he's no longer affiliated with them because he's not a nice human apparently. So I could see that, but make the change then. The Cardinals don't have teeth. It's not that hard.
I mean, whatever. I'm basically out of these things, so the hell with it. And there's Don Williams. Yeah.
I got one more, Mike. I've been all day long. I've been trying to workshop nicknames for Mikey Clean, our new quarterback. Obviously, KZ and DG. We just went with their initials, Mike. So I figured we need a good nickname for Mikey Clean.
Top 5 Mikey Clean?
I don't have top 5 Mikey Clean. I only have one because I can only think of one. So here's my submission. You can give me your agreement or disagreement, Mike. Ready? Mikey Clean.
Mikey Clean.
Yeah, Mikey Clean. What do you think? I need it up or down here?
I can't give you that one right now. Where are we going with the clean thing?
Something's really good. It's clean. He's clean. That looks clean. I don't know. I got nothing. You got any Mikey Clean nicknames that you can throw out there?
He doesn't need a nickname because you know why? Because just going by Mikey is cool enough.
Oh.
You know, my name is Mike, but nobody calls me Mike. Only a couple of my buddies call me Mikey, but I don't hear it that often, and I like it. I think he's pulling it off. He seems like he's got some style, this Mikey Clean.
Mikey Clean?
He's got
Yes.
the hair.
I must say it's clean. I'm with you. I see it.
I'm going to have to – first of all, you can't have a nickname before you started the game. So there's one.
Okay.
No nickname yet. And then we'll come up with something as we see his potential on the field.
All right. I mean, you got Magic Mike, Iron Mike, Big Mike. I mean, those are all options as well. So we'll see where that comes out to, Mike. But we'll go through your picks next, Mike. But hey, let's really quickly talk about our new friend of the program, friend near and dear to your heart, Mike. Paper and Lace. I know last week we introduced everyone to Paper and Lace. Told you a little bit more about them. They are your one-stop shop for some of the most fantastic wedding invitations and notebooks and all those things out there, Mike. What do the people need to know? How do they find Paper and Lace? And what kind of deal are we offering them for being such faithful listeners of the Sons of UCF?
Yeah, we mentioned them last week, and great responses. A lot of people went to the website. A lot of people checked out the Instagram page, paperandlaceboutique.com, and you will see the invitations that my sister creates are the nicest things you'll ever see. And she can do any kind of style you want. You know, she customizes it to whatever type of wedding you're having. And I mean, I'm telling you, go to the website, go to her Instagram page, Paper and Lace. She's got like 20,000 followers. She's been doing this for a while now. She's got a lot of positive reviews. She will ship anywhere in the country. She's based here in Fort Lauderdale. If you're in the area, you can go in and see the stuff yourself. But if not, don't be afraid. There's plenty of people that have done it without seeing it and have come away thrilled with what she does. If you mention you've heard about it here on the Sons of UCF, 10% off your first order. Her name's Michelle. I had her office number written down last week. I'm going to have to go back and get it. I know her personal phone number. I don't know.
I feel like that's not what we wanted. Yeah, let's not give out your sister's number. Let me throw this special offer in as well, Mike. So 10% off your first order. Whoever's the first night fans out there that order wedding invitations, Mike will go to your wedding. So you will get UCF Mike at your wedding. So you'll have a minor celebrity there plus fantastic wedding invitations. I'm not sure what more you can ask for.
Well, I already know somebody that is about to contact her, and it's our buddy that runs the Alumni Association down here, my new friend, Raphael. He's engaged. He just set a date for his wedding. He's calling her, and I don't know, if I keep going to these watch parties with this guy, I probably will be invited to this guy's wedding.
Wow.
So he kept giving me fireball shots.
That's not what you want to do. That's not what UCF Mike needs. Trust me, friends. UCF Mike does not do fireball. No.
Yeah, I kept telling him I didn't want him.
No.
I had an early softball practice, 9 o'clock the next morning. I kept saying, no. My 2 buckets of Yingling is enough over here. And I went through those 2 buckets and a couple of fireball shots. And that made me forget actually a lot of the plays in this game, which I'm kind of happy about.
Well, that's helpful. But it did not make him forget about Paper and Lace Boutique, Mike, which is where you want to go get all your wedding invitations. paperandlaceboutique.com. Again, find them on Instagram as well. Gorgeous stuff. I am not one that has been in the wedding invitation game for a hot minute here, but I tell you what, I showed them to my wife. She thought they were fantastic, and I think your significant other will too. paperandlaceboutique.com. Sons of UCF sends you. You get 10% off. You won't regret it, Mike. Coming up next, you might regret your picks. I don't know how well you did, but we will get to that in a second. We'll be right back on Kalia Davis's second favorite UCF podcast.
This is UCF head football coach Gus Malzahn, and you should listen to the Sons of UCF like your hair is on fire. Go Knights and charge on.
All right, if they play them, Mike's going to pick them. Not always well, though. And so if you're new, again, to the program, welcome aboard. Each week we give you 3 games that Mike picks out, and he'll tell you who will win against the spread. Typically, they're all American Conference foes or some sort of a connection to UCF. And each week we track that. We're also in something called a pool tracker, which if you're not in by now, may be a little bit too late. But those of you who are following along, that pool tracker asks you to pick like 8, 9, 10 games. And so we have that running as well. Winner of that gets some great prizes, including a Citronaut hoodie. And I believe one of the now increasingly rare UCF Sons UCF hats. as well. So that's what's at stake here, Mike. What's also at stake is your reputation. So give us the updates. How did we do last week? What's the pool tracking looking like? How's 2021 treating you so far?
Well, my picks last week went just as well as the UCF game. And every other one of my sporting teams that I follow, the Yankees, the Giants, all went down to tubes this past week. My picks last week, 0-3 on the show. 0-3. So I lost. I had Tulane getting 14 points against Ole Miss. They lost by like 40 or something. I had Memphis. No, I had Mississippi State -3.5 against Memphis. I believe Memphis won that game outright.
They did. Yep.
And of course, I had UCF -7 against Louisville. Lost that one. 0-3 on the show picks last week. For the season, that drops me to 2-6-1. Yikes. No good. And then even in the pool tracker, no bueno. 4-7 in the pool tracker. I only have 19 correct picks, which, if you look at the leaderboard, I'm only 4 behind the overall leader. Still, within reach, but it's trending in the wrong direction. You, my friend, are doing pretty well. You got 22. You're in second place.
Thank you.
Our buddy Trace, who seems to think he's good at this, is doing just as bad as me. He's tied with me with 19. So a bad week, but all that means is we're going to rebound this week and even things out here. What goes down must come up. Is that the way the saying goes? No. But
goes down. No, that's not going to work. Unless you're upside down, I guess. Even that, hold on. Yeah, no.
All right. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to turn things around here, flip it upside down. Let's go. Crank up the music. I got 3 surefire picks to get me back on track.
Boom.
Number 1, when you suffer an 0-3 week, what you got to do, and what I strayed away from last week, you got to go and pick the Cow game. BYU -23 points against the Cows. The Cougars are 3-0 to start the year against some pretty decent opponents here. They beat Arizona 24-16. They beat Utah 26-17. They beat Arizona State this past week 27-17. BYU, obviously the team that beat us up in the bowl game, no longer with Zach Wilson at quarterback, but playing some pretty good football here to start the year. And we know the opponent, the Cows. Yes, the Cows of Tampa, Florida. Off the schneid, finally, for this season. Get a win under their belts. Congratulations to those guys. Of course, it's against FAMU, 38-17. They haven't won a game against a Division I school in a while. The last time they did that was 2019. It was to East Carolina, but the team they beat before that, BYU.
Oh, yeah.
27-23. They also beat UConn that year and South Carolina State for their 4 wins. But this game's at home for BYU. It's a night game, and the Cougars are ready to do some soaking that night. I feel a big win for the BYU Cougars, something in the realm of a 55-10 over the Cows. Put the Cows back to reality where they were for the first couple of weeks of this year.
Never pick the Cows.
I have picked the Cows actually on here before. I don't remember when. Maybe it was 2 years ago or 3 years ago. But anyway, BYU -23. Give the points. Don't even sweat it. Game number 2. Houston Cougars. I'm playing with a lot of Cougars this weekend. -20 against the Navy Midshipmen. Houston's at home. The Midshipmen have been outscored 72-10 over their first 2 games. And that's against powerhouses like Marshall and Air Force. Now they're coming off a bye week. They regrouped maybe a little bit. They fired their offensive coordinator. I think maybe they got something prepared for Houston. I don't think so. Houston's offense is rolling right now. They've scored 89 points the last 2 weeks. Yes, it was against Grambling State and Rice. But I think Houston, I think the Cougars got a little something going now. They're going to be at home before 2 pretty tough road trips to Tulsa and Tulane. They got to start off the conference play in a good foot here this week. I can't see Navy scoring 2 touchdowns. They've only scored 10 points so far in 2 weeks. I don't think they're going to put up 2 touchdowns, and I think Houston's going to score over 30. So I'll give up the 20 points and take the Houston Cougars. I'm taking 2 sets of Cougars, giving up 43 points combined, and I'm not even worried about it.
Yeah, that's probably the right pick as well. I mean, I haven't seen as much of Houston, but that feels right.
All right, I'm glad you're agreeing with me because you've been doing pretty well on these. So.
But I'll change my mind by the time I pick. So once I see it, here's the problem: when you say it out loud, I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense, and then I look at it like on the screen when I make the choice. I'm like, wait, how many? So don't listen to me.
It's a lot of points, 3 touchdowns.
Yeah,
basically, a lot of points, and you never know. Sometimes you can be up in these games 26 points, and then all of a sudden Navy scores a garbage touchdown with 2 minutes to go, and you get screwed. But that's why they build those big buildings out in Las Vegas. So, game number 3, SMU Mustangs getting 10 points on the road against TCU, the Horned Frogs. The Mustangs needed a miracle this past week to beat Louisiana Tech. Did you see the end of that game?
I did, yes.
A tipped ball on a Hail Mary in the end zone. They come down with it, steal the win. That was a bit of a trap game, I think, for SMU. They had started off so well the first couple of weeks. They had that game leading into this one. They maybe have been looking a little forward to the TCU game. I think if they win this one, though, they may be sniffing around the rankings here. Have they been receiving votes? I don't even know, but they should be. And if they beat TCU, I think they're going to be up there close to the top 25. And this may be a trap game for TCU. They have Texas the following week. They're coming off a bye week this week, TCU is. Maybe they get off to a little bit of a slower start because of that. They gave up 32 points in a close game to Cal. Cal has not proven to be that good. SMU, we know, can put points on the board. So I think I'm going to take the points here. I'm going to take the Mustangs. The last time these teams played, SMU won 2 years ago. I think it's a close game either way. I think it's a field goal game, a 4-point game. I give SMU a real chance to go on the road and win it. And if they do win it, I think they got a chance to stay undefeated all the way until our game in November. They have a very soft opening of conference play after this. They will creep their way all the way up the rankings. We're going to have a chance to maybe play 2 top 15 teams in conference this year with Cincinnati and SMU by the time we get there. So give me the Mustangs. Give me the 10 points on the road. I think they keep it close. If they don't win it, at least it's within close distance there at the end.
Yeah, I think SMU winning only helps us, right? If obviously we take care of business and we see them down the road, you know, a win like this actually maybe gives us potential to, I don't know, to do some damage down towards the end of the year. So I will ride with SMU. That was a fantastic late game play, by the way. I don't know if you call that luck or skill. I don't know, but it was really one of the highlights of the weekend.
Yeah, I didn't see any of the game. I just saw that one play, and you know they had been blowing teams out. And Louisiana Tech is no powerhouse, but they're not a horrible team. They usually have a pretty decent program, and to lose in that fashion the way they did, that had to be a heartbreaker for them.
Indeed it was. So those are Mike's fresh picks. Again, if that's something you want to try to get involved in, do so at your own peril. If you're in the pool tracker, and now you have an idea where Mike's leaning. So if you want to fade Mike's picks to be able to increase your own chances, now you have an opportunity to do just that. So let's grab ourselves a quick little 30-second break here. Let's get everything all wired back out, Mike. We will close up shop around here. It's Cow of the Week. It's our time to make fun of our friends to the west. We are the Sons of UCF.
Okay, Sons of UCF, both of you, you are the ball.
Welcome back. We have reconvened here to close up the show with our Cow of the Week segment where we make fun of our friendly neighbors there in Temple Terrace, and we tell you something that happened that we thought was funny or stupid or anywhere in between, Mike. So you get the honors as always, my friend. You can lead off. What caught your eye, your ear this week as Cow of the Week?
Yeah. I tell people how to listen to the radio broadcast of the UCF games all the time, right? And I even posted a step-by-step process on how to do it. And a couple people asked about it. So I always like to listen to my home team broadcast during the game. It's better than these announcers on the national games, they don't know as much about your team, right? So I feel better. I listen to the Mark Daniels call all the time when I'm watching the game at home. NFL, I would do it the same way if I could. But there's an NFL radio broadcaster who had a bit of a tough go at it here to end one of the games, and it's the Minnesota Vikings. And if you haven't heard this, I think Adam's got a clip here for you. Let me set it up. It's a 34-33 game in Arizona. The Vikings are setting up for a last-second field goal to win it on the road, and this is what happens.
High snap, put down. Joseph, come on! It is gone! No, he missed it. Are you kidding me? He missed it right. He missed it right. Oh, my hands.
He missed a kick, Mike. 37-yarder.
Imagine being a fan of the Vikings and you're driving around listening to the game, or you whatever, you're listening to this game on the radio. The guy tells you, it's good! No, he missed it. What? What? How pissed would you be? How pissed would you be?
My favorite part is the come on when he kicks it. Come on! Like he's rooting, like the guy's going to hear him from down there. I actually enjoyed the come on more than when he missed it was obviously fantastic, but the come on was my favorite part.
It was his broadcast partner was like, after he screams it's good, the guy goes, nah, he missed it.
I mean, what else do you say there, though, right? I mean, what else can you say there?
That sucks. And the Vikings have lost this way a lot in the last few years. They've lost some last-second field goals in the playoffs, and oh man, I feel bad for a Viking fan listening to that game. Maybe he doesn't even hear the part of he missed it, because after he hears good, maybe he starts running around the house, running around, the living room or whatever, pumping his fist, and then comes back and says, "What? He missed it." That's worse than what I went through the other night when the Giants. The Redskins actually missed it. I was fist pumping around the house until I looked back at the TV and I see there's a flag down, and then the Redskins kicked the field goal to win. So, in this game, UCF legend himself, Matt Prater, 62-yard field goal for Arizona. So, imagine if the kickers were reversed there, the Vikings may have actually had a win. But to me, I thought this was the funniest thing, the funniest thing of the weekend. And this guy, Paul Allen, the radio broadcaster for the Minnesota Vikings, you, my friend, are the cow of the week.
Well, imagine the guy who's like driving, like who drives off the side of the road. I mean, it's one thing if you're at your house and, you're jumping up and down, but imagine if you're behind the wheel of a vehicle, and you can't be in front of the game. Maybe you're traveling back and forth. You got the family with you, and all of a sudden this happens, and you're driving your car off the road. Hopefully not, by the way. Hopefully everyone's safe. But yeah, I don't know. Like I still don't understand how we thought it went in. I guess that's where I'm confused.
I guess he's not looking at the referee. He's just calling it from his spot in the booth there. And sometimes when you're at games, it's hard to tell whether the kick goes through or not. And I always just direct my attention to the referee to see what they say. But can you play it one more time? Because I want to laugh again. This has been a tough weekend for me. We obviously had a tough way to lose. I need to find some kind of joy here in some other person's misery. Give me the call one more time.
I mean, now you got me. I'm not prepared for this. You wanted a second. A second run at it. I mean, you're gonna have to give me a second to get it queued back up here. I mean, gotta go back to the page. That didn't help me right there. Let's go here. We got that. There we go. Let's get this plugged in. Let's get this working over here.
Jeez, a lot of things.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's harder than it looks, Mike. It's harder than it looks. Wait, this thing's going to play a little thing first. Let's just disregard this, blah, 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 blah. You're not hearing that. All right, here we go.
Joseph, come on! It is good! No, he missed it. Are you kidding me? He missed it right.
It's good.
Oh, that was good.
That's a classic one. No, that's good. I feel bad. I wonder if there's like a fine for that. Like, are you like penalized or something if you're the announcer? Like, do you get demerits? What are the rules there? I don't know.
I don't know. He's gonna have a rough week.
Yeah, probably a rough week, Mike. Okay, that's a good cow of the week. I have a cow of the week, Mike, and I'm actually going to use the cows for my cow of the week. And I'm trying to find the guy who first pointed this out on social media. but I cannot find his name, so I want to credit him accordingly, but I cannot find him. It is a gentleman who went to the Cows game this weekend. You mentioned they were the only Florida team to actually win, beating up FAMU. And he had a tweet basically saying that he paid $11 for a drink and got the commemorative cup that goes with the drink. So sometimes you go to the stadium, you know how this works. You get the drink and it's free refills or something. You get the commemorative cup, right? And he's got a picture of the commemorative cup that he paid. I think he said $11 for at the stadium. Like, only one problem.
I already know.
It's a cup of the 2019 Cows schedule. It's not even last year's cup like laying around, that inventory laying around. It's a cup from 2 years ago, which makes you wonder, where has that cup been the last 2 years? It's just been sitting in their storage room. Is it still good to be drinking out of at this point? And shouldn't they be paying him $11 to take that cup off their hands versus him paying $11 for the cup? So even when the Cows try to do something appropriate, they ended up still somehow flubbing it up and selling the commemorative cup from 2019 to somebody who actually voluntarily, I assume, went to the game. Like, no one forced him. I don't think there was a probation officer with him. I think he was there on his own accord. Actually went to the game, and they gave him a cup from 2 years ago. Just you couldn't make this stuff up if you tried.
Only the Cows. Now, I'm guessing they probably, in the 2019 season, anticipated some decent crowds show up at their games, I guess, and ordered a whole bunch of these. And then, obviously, them being the Cows, not many people go to those games. They had a lot of leftovers, I would think. They probably handed these out last year, too, and probably nobody even noticed. Oh, actually, they didn't have fans last year, so that explains that, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Now here they go. They're getting rid of these things. They're commemorative items, I guess. You know, I don't know. It's the Cows being the Cows, man. Handing out stuff in 2019 with the schedule on it. Maybe they're just trying to commemorate the last time they actually beat Division I teams. That'd be it.
Yes, but at some point you have to offload the inventory. You know what I mean? At some point you just call it a loss. You offload the inventory. You sort of move on. But where have these things been stored at the last couple of seasons? Again, are they safe to drink out of? Shouldn't there have been like a discount? Like, hey, by the way, we can, we got a commemorative cup from a couple years ago. We'll give you $1. Like, shouldn't there have been some form of marketing idea? I mean, I guess it's the Cows, so what do I expect, right? But I actually just want to know where these cups have been the last 2 years. Have they been sitting under like a shelf somewhere in Raymond James Stadium? Have the Buccaneers almost used them at one point? Like, no, we can't do that trash. Like, where have these cups been all this time? And how many more are left, I guess? And how do we figure that out? I need information here.
Yeah, is this the only one that nobody else got the same thing? And last week they actually had a good crowd there. I mean, it was none of their fans. So I wonder if any Gator fans ended up with some of these commemorative cups from 2019. I don't know. Was this just one of the vendors had his own personal cup laying around? It was close by, and he filled up the beer with that. I don't know.
I don't even think it was beer. I think it's a soda cup though, because it's one of those like Flanagan's like green style plastic cups. So I don't even think it's a commemorative. I don't think there was beer in it, as far as I could tell. Although I don't know how you go to a Cows game and not get hammered.
Maybe he was pouring some rum in there on his own.
You better have poured something in there, Mike. I don't know how you go to a Cows game stone cold sober and walk away. Either you just hate yourself or I don't even know. It is.
First of all,
I found the guy finally. It is Jake Bisson at J Bisson MF. He paid $11 for a souvenir cup straight out of someone's dishwasher from 2 years ago, and it's got the 2019 schedule, which was Wisconsin, Georgia Tech, SC State, and so on and so forth.
Well, he's one of the only guys to actually go to the game, so at least he's got something cool out of it, I guess.
Yeah.
Screw him and the Cows and their one win against FAMU.
And the other item I was going to put out there, so we've heard a lot of mispronunciations here of the UCF name during a broadcast. Obviously, we get a lot of UFC from time to time, a lot of Golden Knights. Again, if you were listening to the actual broadcast, you heard Andre Ware refer to UCF's defense as the UNC defense. I've never heard it referred to as UNC. I've heard UFC. Again, we've been the Golden Knights. He turned us into North Carolina somehow.
I'm not. It's hard for me to get on people for saying the wrong things. I'm sure there's been a million words I hear in the last few years of us doing this podcast that I've mispronounced. So I can see how it happens, I guess. But I don't know. I know people get their panties in a bunch when people call us Golden Knights and UFC, and it's just stuff's gonna happen sometimes. These people are not as connected to UCF as we are, obviously. So every once in a while, somebody's gonna say the wrong thing.
By the way, I was looking for that. I stumbled upon something that's trending on Twitter. Not trending, I guess, but is on Twitter. It seems like UCF fans are giving Mikey Clean facts, and kind of in the style of Chuck Norris. So here's a couple of Mikey Clean facts, Mike. Jim Hadaway, I once heard Mikey Clean helped a little old lady cross the street by pulling the other side of the street to him. Drew Bellani said, I once heard Mikey Clean's fieldmanship in practice was so off the charts that George O'Leary lied on his resume to come back and coach. The Nightolorian says, I heard Mikey Clean count it to infinity twice. We Are UCF Family said, I heard Mikey Clean uses pepper spray to season his meat. Once Upon a Rhyme said, I heard Mikey Clean threw such a tight spiral it created a tornado. Yeah, so some fun Mikey Clean stuff trending on Twitter. That's fun.
This kid better turn out to be the next Chuck Norris. You're getting some high expectations placed on him already. So I saw a couple of clips. I think it was Joe Broback broke down a couple of his clips from high school. I watched that earlier today. He looks like he can be an exciting player, man. So let's see what he can do. I like that he's got this bye week, and I like that he's got Navy as the first opponent. I think it's a nice way to ease him into the schedule.
Our friend Reed Joyce Knights, I once heard Mikey Clean threw a pass over the Grand Canyon, and Parker Navarro caught it. So there's that, Mike. And while we've got time, because what else are we going to do? Are you into this? I'm watching it now while we're recording. Are you in? Did you watch the Peyton and Eli Monday Night Football thing last week? Are you into these two guys sort of broadcasting, I guess, or talking through the game?
I have not seen it. We record here on Monday nights, and then after this I go to bed. So I haven't watched Monday Night Football. I forgot all about it. I heard a little bit about it last week. Is it any good? You like it? You don't like it?
It's not bad. Peyton talks a lot, which I guess, me saying that's pot calling the kettle black, right? But Peyton talks a lot. Eli looks like he doesn't know what's going on half the time, but it is kind of interesting to listen. We should find a way to do this. Now, I know we can't actually show the game because we don't have broadcast rights, but we should find a way to record our, the game on in the room, but you're not seeing the TV, and people just listen to us call the game. I think we should figure that out.
Call the game or just talk about the game?
We'll talk about the game while it's on. You know what I mean? We're not going to maybe UConn, a game no one cares about. You know what I mean? Where you couldn't see the TV, but we could just do a StreamYard of us watching the game, and you just sync yourself up with us, and we'll entertain you for 4 hours.
That could be dangerous. I mean, a game like UConn, I guess, is fine, and there's probably limited cursing and screaming during that game. But I don't know if you would have wanted to see me during this past game, especially there towards the end. But it's something that we could think about, maybe. All
right, we'll put it in the...
Trace will do it, you think?
No, he'll probably be at the game. I imagine he'll be that's a home game, so I imagine he'll be up in the press box to get all the big juicy quotes from whoever the UConn coach will be that time.
Right.
If they even know. We'll put it in the suggestion box. We'll put it in the suggestion. It's one of the numerous things that we're working on around here at the Sons UCF to try to enhance your UCF experience, Mike. But one of those other things is the live show, which will be up on Thursday evening, 8 p.m., Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Myself and UCF Mike are joined by Trey Strelko. We'll break down whatever news has come out this week, although we're not expecting a lot. We'll maybe have a couple of guests come by. Maybe they'll be on time. Maybe their roof won't be leaking. You never really know what you're going to get there. So make sure you find us on Thursday night for the Sons of UCF Live, Mike. But the game is behind us, Mike. We got a bye week this week, a time as a fan to recharge and regroup as well, right?
Yeah, I'm actually glad there's no football this week. I need a week off after that one. That one hurts. And you know what I did? I have a vacation planned this weekend anyway, so I did it because there was a bye week, and now I'm glad. I just want to get away, not watch any football, and just forget about it for a few days.
All right, well, Mike will be vacationing in parts unknown, but he will be around on Thursday. Everybody have a fantastic week. We will talk to you then. As always, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Thanks for following. You guys are the best. Go Knights.
Charge on.